This is Dan from Christie's RV. Today we're going to be taking a look at this 2020 Jayco Eagle 330 RSTS. We're going to go over some of the stuff you need to know once you've purchased this unit. So start at the front. This one has a power tongue jack, so the switches are on the front. Now the power tongue jack does have a manual crank option in case it isn't working properly. To do that, you pull this little rubber plug out of the top, and then there's a crank handle supplied inside the trailer, and you can manually crank the jack up or down. Behind that, you have your propane system. So you got two 30-pound tanks. In the center, you have a crossover regulator. So the regulator is meant to be used with both bottles open. So with both bottles open, whichever one that the arrow points towards is the one it's going to take propane from. When that bottle becomes empty, the little sight gauge that's on the face will turn red, but automatically start draining from the other tank. When you notice that the sight gauge has gone red, you just need to flip the arrow over to the other side, then you can remove the empty tank and fill it. And behind that on the rack, you have your battery in a box, and on this side, you have your switches for the accent lights on the front. So in the first compartment, you have your water station. So the water station itself has two hookups. So you have your regular city water hookup. So if you're hooking your water on, or you want to fill your tank, this is where you're going to hook the hose on. Then you're just going to follow the diagrams for what operation you're trying to do. So dry camping, winterize, tank fill, sanitize, or city water. Now if you're going to winterize the trailer, you actually use this hookup. So you go with this hookup with the clear hose. Will go in your antifreeze jug, and then you'll just put it to winterize, and it'll suck right out from there. The other hookup here that's in black is your tank flush. So this unit has a flusher in the toilet tank to help clean it out. So if you're going to use that, you need to have the hose hooked up, sewer hose hooked up, and the valve in the open position, and then you can hook up a hose and flush the tank. So along with that, you have your satellite cable hookups here. So you have satellite, cable, and auxiliary. Auxiliary and satellite are basically the same, so if you had two satellite lines trying to come in, that's what you're going to use. On top of this, you have your water heater bypass. So you basically just follow the diagram. You either want it in normal mode for when you're using your hot water heater, or bypass for winterizing. Then you have a set of taps up top that has a quick connect. The hose is there. At the bottom, you have your valves. So you have your black, gray, and second gray tank valves. So just to dump them, you're just going to pull out on it. On the front compartment here, you have your extend and retract and awning lights switches. On the far side of the unit, you do have a battery disconnect, so it will shut off the power to the unit. So if you're going to leave it sit for an extended period of time without being plugged in, you'll want to disconnect the battery. So it just has the disconnect that's here. So right now we're in the off position, and there's the on position. So underneath that front compartment, you have the drain valve there. That's one of the drains for the line, water lines inside the trailer. And if you go behind the first slide, there's the other drains come out there. So you have your water heater. So to open it, you're just going to turn this little valve, or little handle. Everything's controlled from inside. The only thing in here you may have to do is pull the drain plug. Before you pull the drain plug out, you need to take the pressure out of the system, so you need to open up a set of taps inside. And one thing to note in here, your pressure relief valve, it is normal for them to drip a bit. So if you notice it's dripping, it's a normal. You have where your power cord hooks on. It just goes in, and then there's the locking collar, so it can't accidentally get pulled out. So then you have your sewer hookup. So there's a sewer hose in the front compartment. If you're going to dump traditional wise, you're just going to hook the sewer hose on, and this valve needs to be open, and then you can pull the valves that are in the front compartment to drain. If you're going to use the Sanicon system that's in this unit, there's actually another one of these valves on the back side. That one needs to be open. Once that's open, you can pull out the Sanicon hose. Now the hose is going to go into the dump station, and then there's just a power switch here to turn on the pump, to pump the tanks out instead. And then you'll open the same valves that are up in the front. So next up you have the fridge vent. So as an important note, you can't block off any of the airflow that's here, so you can't lean anything up against the trailer. Now this unit has 2 sidewall vents, so there is a fans inside the back of the fridge that may turn on if it's a hot day. So if you do notice that it's humming and it's a hot day out, it's normal. So on the back door side corner, you have access hole to stick the crank handle in to lower your spare tire down if you need it. And up here at the front, you have a satellite or cable output as well as an exterior plug. So if you want to have a TV underneath the awning, you can hook on from there. So this unit has the stairs that go up inside the unit. So to open the stairs, you have to make sure the door is open all the way, and then you're just going to pull out on the steps. So now the stairs themselves, the legs are adjustable, so you can set it up properly depending on the ground that you're parked on. So there's just a pin on each side. You just pull that out, slide them in and out to get to where the stairs work properly. So when you come inside the unit, you have your main control center here. So to turn it on, you're just going to press on the screen. So you have your interior, your light switches that are all here underneath. Then you can scroll through the different systems in here that are controlled. So if you go to motors, you can control the slide outs or the awnings. So to control the awnings, you're just going to pick the one you want, press and hold extend. So the awnings that are on this unit are both electric. One thing to note with them is they're not designed to be used in heavy winds or heavy rain. So I don't recommend that you leave them out if that's the case. As well as if you're not going to be at your unit, I recommend that you leave them rolled up. Now the awnings themselves, you can pitch them, so lower one side or both sides or whichever one you see fit. To do that, the bottom arm here, you just need to pull down on it and it'll tilt. So before you roll it back up, you just need to straighten it back out. One thing to note with this style, over time, because this is a friction fit, when you pull down on the awning, it won't stay down. It'll just kind of slide back up on its own. You may need to just tighten up that bolt, like I said, once it wears a bit. To roll the awning in, you're just going to do the same thing and press and hold retract. So there are lots of other things that are controlled through this main center, as well as you can control this with your smartphone or tablet. So there is a process to go through to pair your device to the unit, but it is very simple to do. So then on the screen as well, we have our slide out controls. So to run the slide outs out, it's the same thing. We're just going to press and hold extend. So the kitchen slide out is what they call an in-wall slide out. So it actually has two motors that run the room, one on each side. So it's important on this style of slide out that once you get all the way out or all the way in, you need to hold the button down for a few seconds afterward. Sometimes these rooms can become out of sync, so the one side is out or in a little bit farther than the other side. But if you continue to hold the button, once it gets to the wall, it'll straighten itself out and it won't cause any future issues. And it won't damage anything if you continue to hold it. So the other slide out is just a traditional style slide out. One thing to note with any slide out room is it only seals in the all the way out or all the way in positions. So you can't leave it part way. Once it gets all the way to the out position, makes a ratcheting noise. That's how you know you're all the way. Another thing to note, before you run the slide outs out, I recommend that you make sure that nothing's falling down kind of behind them or on top of them, because whatever is there will get crushed. So some of the other controls in here, you can operate the stabilizer jacks as well from inside. And then you can just scroll through the stuff on the side here. So if you go to the one that's like the thermostat or the thermometer symbol, it tells you the temperature inside. Then you can pick your mode here. So we turn it on, then we're on cool, we're on low fan, you can pick high or low fan. And you can pick your mode here, so you can pick air conditioning, so cool, you can pick just the fan, or you can pick the heat. So either one you do, and then you can just up or down control the heat for whatever temperature you want it to be at. So the furnace itself, when it lights, or when it starts, is going to run for 15 to 20 seconds before it lights. Then when it either comes to temperature or you turn it off, it's going to run for 15 to 20 seconds without the flame on again, just to cool down as a safety precaution. So then you have your individual light controls up here as well. It'll tell you what your battery power is at. It tells you what your holding tanks are at, so your fresh tank, gray tanks, the black tank. And up top you can turn on your water pump, on or off your water pump. You can turn on your electric water heater, turn on your gas water heater. Everything's controlled from here. From the main screen, it also gives you the options here to go through it, and you can choose what you need to choose. Okay, so when we go into the unit, first thing here, you have your propane and CO detector. Now this is wired to the battery on the front of the trailer. If that battery becomes low, this emits like a high-pitched squeal, trying to tell you that it's not going to work properly because there isn't enough voltage available. Now it does have a couple lights on the bottom, so if it goes off, it will tell you if it's detecting carbon monoxide or propane. Beside that, you have your load center. Open it up, you just press where it says press here. You have all your breakers and fuses. Now everything's labeled on the door. One thing to note for RV breakers is they don't have an indicator to tell you that they're tripped. So if you're having a power issue, you need to just find the appropriate breaker, turn it off, and then back on to reset it. So the fridge itself, the controls are up at the top. So if you're on and off, then you can select auto or gas. So basically auto is going to run electricity all the time. If it's not present, it's going to run, it'll switch itself to propane. So if you had it on auto, it was on electric. Once the power, if the power went out, it's going to automatically switch to propane. Once the power is reintroduced, it's going to switch back to electricity. And then you just have your temp setting button. So you can set your temperature. Stovetop. To light, you're just going to pick whichever burner you want on. And then turn the sparker. So the center burner is your high output burner. So if you wanted to boil water or anything like that, I recommend you do it on that one. Now to light the oven, you're just going to turn the knob here till the light symbol. Once you get there, you can actually push in on the knob. So you're going to push and hold it, and you're going to turn the same sparker. So once it lights, you're just going to continue to hold the button in for 5 to 10 seconds. When you release, it should stay lit, and then you're just going to set the temperature that you want it to be at. And then beside that, you just have your light switch, so you can have the outer lights on or the inside light on. Above that, you have your microwave. So you have your vent controls or your light control are here. So above the TV, you have your stereo, your TV. Below that is your fireplace. So the controls are here on the fireplace. So you have you can have temperature, high, low, or off, and then you can set your flame colors, and you can also set a timer, so it'll only stay on for a certain amount of time. So up in the bathroom, you got all your light switches here. Now this one has a foot flush toilet. So to flush the toilet, you step the pedal all the way to the floor. To add water to the bowl, you just partially step on the pedal. So in the bedroom, the one window here is an emergency exit window, as well as there's one at the back of the unit. They both operate the same way. If you needed to use the window as an exit, you're just going to grab the red tab here, pull the screen off, then you lift the other tab here and you open the window. It's just hinged on the top so you could get out. You can use it for ventilation purposes as well. It does latch in one position. If it is a very windy day, I wouldn't recommend leaving this window open. The wind can catch it and pull the window open. If that does happen, all you need to do is just from the outside refeed this rod into place. On the front of the island, you have your GFI receptacle. So now this receptacle controls all the receptacles that are in a wet location. So the kitchen, the exterior, and the bathroom. If it trips, the reset is just right on the front of it. So I think that's just about it for this unit. I hope you enjoy and have a great day.